everyone, and welcome to North of 60. I'm Heidi Schweighoefer. I have a guest back with me today that I so enjoyed her visit the first time that I was eager to have her back the second time. Jill Rango is now teaching and has been teaching a balance class on Mondays and a flexibility class on Tuesdays at St. Mary's Church. And I will let her tell you a little bit more about her background and how she got into this, but I can tell you I've been taking her balance class, and it is truly the best thing I could have ever done. Even after just a month's worth of classes, I feel a different sense of confidence when I take my daily walk. And I want to encourage everybody to attend the classes, but today we're going to talk about flexibility. Jill, yes. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me.
Now, I know you're certified in balance and fall training, and I'm sorry that I want you to repeat that.
Okay. All right. Well, I actually, right now, I'm keeping up 3 certifications, and one of those is a group exercise instructor, which I got in 1986. So I've had that one up for a long time. I'm keeping up a personal training certificate, which I got in 2005, and then was the fall proof.
Yes, that was so interesting.
Fall proof balance and mobility, and I got that in 2009. So those are the ones that I'm interested in now. My interest in the exercise field, have never wavered. I just changed what I've been doing, which is good. Everybody should do that.
And you are excellent at what you're doing.
Thank you.
So today, we talked before about balance. We did some balance exercises, but today I want to talk about flexibility. And I want you to start out by really telling us why flexibility matters and why we should really care about it.
Good. I can do that. One of the things that I got to thinking about before I came to do this was that really the over 60 crowd is the group that grew up doing aerobics, and we thought that was the end all, that was the number one thing that we should be doing, when in reality there's several other components of fitness. And especially over 60, the flexibility and the strength training and the balance are much more important. It's not that you can't do, cardiovascular work or aerobic kind of things, but they're not as effective as strength training, balance training, and flexibility training for what you need right now. And so flexibility itself is basically mechanically efficient movement. It's pain-free movement. It's correct movement. So again, we all need to move more, okay?
Yep.
Movement can cure a lot of things.
Yep.
But particularly with flexibility, we need to keep those joints, all those joints moving, or else they get tight, because it's a natural response of aging for your ligaments to get tighter, for your cartilage, that's been overused over time. It gets less, there's less hydration to your cartilage, it gets thinner. And so that's another reason why, again, movement actually brings hydration to your joints. And so, as we age, we need motion in all of our joints. Otherwise, we start to change the way we move. And I like to use a golfer as an example of that. When a golfer can't rotate, there's got to be motion coming from somewhere, okay? So if the rotation around the spine isn't working, very often a golfer will overdo at the shoulder joint, or overdo at the knees, or change something in order to get the movement needed. And we do the same thing in everyday life. If we can't get the movement, say, out of our mid-back, we use our lower back because we need to get the movement, but our lower back's not designed for that. It's not designed for rotation. So it starts to hurt, okay? Same thing with our ankles. If we don't have good flexibility in our calves, it changes the way we walk. We start to shuffle because we can't pull our toe up anymore. We can't walk from heel to toe like is so important. It's important for balance, and it's just important for pain-free movement, which is what I think we really need to emphasize here. Again, as we age, pain-free movement and moving efficiently becomes more, we don't want to waste any energy, and we don't want to alter, because very often when we alter, it causes pain. So
there's not a person I've talked to my age or a little older that hasn't noticed when we wake up in the morning that we feel a little stiffer and something hurts a little bit. And as the day goes on, it goes away. We don't notice it as much. But I absolutely have noticed the changes since I turned 60 even.
Yeah.
That things just don't seem to work quite the way they did when I don't feel comfortable lifting as much in the groceries and that kind of thing. So yeah, you are absolutely right. Now, so when you teach flexibility, Jill, are you teaching, do you have any people in your class who use walkers, for example, and who would have very limited motion?
I have taught everything from, people in skilled care, people in assisted living, and people that are independent. It just matters where, everybody can exercise in a chair, but some exercises standing, some exercises seated, some exercises on the floor. I've found over time that most people are not real excited about doing exercises on the floor, and that's a whole nother, actually, we could do another segment on that.
Well, you get down there now, it's really hard to get up.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like it used to be.
Not like it used to be, and you certainly don't want to find yourself on the floor and not able to get back up. And part of that is strength, but part of that is flexibility. You need to be able to, to get your body in the position to stand. So, as why do we lose it? We lose it because our lifestyle has changed. We're not as active as we used to be. And consequently, and like I said, it's the effects of aging, that cushioning that we had in our cartilage, it gets thinner. Our tendons and ligaments, they shorten. The lubricating fluid decreases, and these are things we don't have any control over. Okay, they're going to happen. That's why when you wake up in the morning, you're stiff. Through the night, that hydration leaves and things are just stiffer. And yeah, so you mentioned, sometimes you do some things in bed, really good idea. I always, before I stand up out of bed, I circle my ankles, I point and flex my toes, I just in preparation to stand and to move. I had somebody the other day say to me, I had to sit at a really long conference and then they wanted me to stand and give a presentation. She said, I stood up and I couldn't move. She goes, I was just totally
so stiff from sitting.
Stiff. And so, again, a lot of those things we don't have control over, but through a diligent stretching exercise program, we can at least slow the process, or,
keep it at a plateau.
Keep it at a plateau. That's good.
Now, we were talking before that the one thing that inhibits me from sometimes, not all the time, but from learning new exercises is learning too many at one time, and then I forget what they are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't become a routine for me. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to do a routine of exercises that I could do every single day of my life, whether I'm in your class or out of your class, but something that will keep me flexible.
We can do that.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
We'll be right back. I'm now going to begin flexibility exercises with Jill Rango. Maybe you can join us at home. All right, Jill.
That would be great. Okay, well, one of the things about flexibility is that you never want to stretch a cold joint. So I always warm up with my classes before, and I like to do it in ways that I call dynamic stretching, which basically means we're moving in ways that we would in everyday life, okay? So let's go ahead and start out with one, put one foot in front of the other, and we're going to rock forward and back. And ankles are so important to our mobility that I always make sure that I work ankles. And then rather than just let our arms hang by our sides, we're actually going to swing our arms. So we can be warming up our shoulders at the same time. And again, this is kind of like we're supposed to walk. We push off with our heel. Very good. Yeah, can you rub your head and pat your stomach?
Really?
And then reach with both arms, pull back. So you're still doing the same thing with your feet. Yep. So you're still front toe up, back heel. That's it. Good.
Two things at one time.
Two things at once. Good. That kind of thing. So anything, go ahead and bring your arms back down. It can be something as simple as a march to warm you up.
All right.
Or again, I like to use the dynamic stretching because I think I get, it's a 2 for 1. Okay.
All right.
So let's go ahead and step back again. I like this as a really good stretch for the spine, which is so important to posture. If our spine is not supple, we start to lose good posture. So we're going to take both hands up over our head. As soon as you put one foot back, it tilts your pelvis a different direction. Typically, our pelvis is like this, but we're changing that position. So your bottom is sticking up in the air. Oh. That's it. Good. Nope, not intentionally, just like that. Now I want you to look up toward the ceiling a little bit. That also makes more curve in your lower back.
Oh, okay.
You feel that?
Yes,
okay.
I do.
Good. Okay, then bring your arms across your chest. And I want you to rotate your shoulders and your belly button to the right. Good. So now that's kind of winding up the muscles that surround the pelvis and the spine. And then come back to the center. Nope, we won't go the other way. We're just going to show this one. And then I want you to take both arms back up in the air again. And I want you to take a hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And I want you to do a little side bend to the side. So those are the positions of our pelvis, of our spine, where we do lateral flexion. Go ahead and bring your arms down. So our spine moves this way, it moves this way, it moves this way, and it rotates. Okay, so now we've gone through all of those. Okay. But one of the points that I want to make before we move on is that these are also kind of dynamic stretches. Typically, we want to hold a stretch after we've warmed up, okay? We do static stretching, which is typically held for 30 to 60 seconds. Okay?
So the arms up would be 30, the rotation would be 30. Okay.
Yeah.
What about bouncing? We used to do a lot of bouncing with Jane Fonda.
Yeah, but bouncing is bad. Sorry, Jane.
Yeah.
And that's what that's a good lead-in because I wanted to say that once you get into a stretch, let's go do a calf stretch because that's another one that's very important. Okay, so go ahead and stand behind your chair. I'm going to actually stand up where people can see me. And you're going to put one foot forward, the other one back, the toes face straight ahead. Okay. Okay. And then we're going to lunge forward. Okay. And the idea is that our back leg is locked out, that our heel is pressed to the floor, our toes are pointing straight ahead, our body is up strong because what we do with our upper body affects what happens with the lower. We're very much integrated. Okay. And you can do this against a wall. You can do it holding onto a chair. There's a lot of different ways that you can do this, but ankle flexibility and balance go together very much.
So this is ankles and calves.
This is ankles and calves.
I can feel it in both.
Very often our calves get restricted, and then you can't walk properly. You can't, okay? So we're going to kind of move on and do some other things. Let's go ahead and sit down. And again, a lot of these things can be worked into your everyday life. For example, if you happen to be sitting
at a computer.
Okay? And of course, there's lots of exercises for that, very much like what we just did. But something as simple as taking your ankles and circling, okay? And because sometimes I like to make it a little harder for the abdominals, okay, we do the circling this way. And then point and flex, okay? And then again, a little bit for the hips, we touch the toes together, we touch the heels together.
I remember from your balance class.
So again, you can do that at commercials, you can do that between chapters in your book, you can do that in a lot of different times. I even say, like the calf stretch that we just did, you could do while you're brushing your teeth in the morning, so you'd be going like this. okay, and holding
Sure.
onto the sink.
Sure.
But you might as well work it into something else that you're doing.
Is that how you, is that what you recommend, that, and I'm trying to articulate this, that you learn a routine that works in your daily life? So while I'm brushing my teeth, I do the calf stretches and maybe do a rotation or two. And then when I'm at my computer or sitting in front of the television doing.
I just think some people want, I say, okay, I'm going to work on my flexibility now. And they like to do everything at once. Some people will not stop their day to do it. So that's why I talk about, work it into something that you're doing anyway.
Okay.
So I always think that that's important. One of the things that I like to stretch because of posture has to do with the chest, okay? So go ahead and stand back up. And we're actually going to turn around so you can see our best side. And we're going to clasp our hands together, fingers together, and pull the shoulder blades back. Now, the more you lift the hands, the harder that it is.
Oh, this feels great.
Yeah, so again, our shoulders tend to want to curve forward in the course of the day. We want to try to pull those back, all right?
Okay.
Another option, again, every time you pass through a doorway, you can put one hand on each side of the doorway. Let's pretend that because I want you to take one step forward, doesn't matter with what.
Okay.
Good. And if you can envision that her hands are on the doorway here, okay? You want about shoulder height, and then just kind of lean through the doorway, and we get a little stretch of that chest.
Yes.
And again, you don't ever want to feel pain when you stretch. You want to feel
tension.
A stretch. You want to feel tension, you don't want to feel pain, and you don't want to bounce, okay?
Yeah, all right.
So
I'm
anyway,
not
that would be one.
So that would be pull through and hold it,
yeah,
like you said.
So here I am.
Yep.
Yep, and then just line through. Good.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's more your chest you're pressing through and not your face.
Did I just move my face?
Kinda did,
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and have a seat again. Kind of working, up the body here a little bit. Next thing I want to think about are hips, okay? Hips get tight, we can't move the way we're designed to. So ankle over knee looks like this. I think we did this maybe the last time we were together.
Yep.
Yes. It hurt?
A little bit.
Okay.
This does, but I'm not going to drop over dead.
Okay,
So we'll
and
do
again,
it.
What Heidi's doing, if your knee is up in the air like this, that's okay, okay? If it goes down like this, it's great. A lot of people have a lot of trouble even getting into this position. You can put one foot out.
Oh, that makes it
and
easier.
lowers it
That
down.
does, yeah.
And then, kind of work your way back.
Okay.
So this is called a piriformis stretch. It's a hip stretch. And
Big time.
yeah, sometimes, it's the sciatic nerve goes down through the piriformis, and if the piriformis itself gets tight, that sometimes is the cause of sciatic pain, okay? So go
Is
ahead
it
and do the other
really?
side. It is. Now, we are obviously not holding our stretches for 30 to 60 seconds, which is what is suggested, especially as we age. We need a little bit longer to get the ligaments and connecting tissues to let go. So you need a little bit longer. And while you're doing this, it's relaxing, it gets better circulation. There's all those things that go on while we're stretching. Okay? So here's where we hit the hips.
And boy, can you feel it right in here.
Exactly. And again, if your hips don't move right, you don't move right. And then you're adjusting, you're altering, you're using, your spine, you're messing up your knees. It could be a variety of things. Okay, this is one of my favorites. My class doesn't like it, and that's why I like it so much.
Oh, goody. I'll love it.
And I want you to slide off. Which is your IT band side? This one. Let's slide off the other way. Okay? So we're going to take one leg back behind us. Now, I'm going to line Heidi up here, and
Heidi hopes she doesn't fall off the chair.
And I want you to put both hands on your knee and press your upper body up into yes, okay? Now, we'd like to have this leg a little bit behind the shoulder if possible, but a lot of people, even have trouble getting into this position.
Woo!
Okay? Then what I want you to do, because as soon as this leg goes back, the pelvis tilts. So I'm going to ask you to squeeze your butt cheeks together, okay? And
all right, they're squeezed.
Okay, and that advances the stretch, okay?
Holy.
And then I want you to turn your shoulders a little bit to the left, a little bit away from the stretched leg. Again, that changes just the angle of pull of the stretch, okay?
Heavens to Betsy.
Yeah, what this really does, okay, all the muscles that are up her leg and cross her hip, they get short, and they get short a lot of times because of the amount of time we spend sitting. Now, I'm not saying you spend much time sitting, but we all spend more than what we should. So
we do, and as you get older, again, you do spend.
You do.
So
here, when you sit, you're in a flex position. We want to do the opposite of that. Okay.
All right.
So that's another one that I had in mind for us to do.
Good. What about arms, shoulders, head, neck? That we could do again. I'm sitting there watching television.
Okay. Definitely. Let's think about arms. One of the ones that is common is to just take our arm out to the side, and then I always say close the door, come across your body, and then you're going to reach up underneath and pull that into your body. Okay?
Yes.
So that
I feel that in my
big
shoulder.
Cap of muscle that we call the deltoid. All right. So again, that's an easy one to do, not very invasive. And again, the other side. Go ahead.
Close the door
under the elbow. Yep. So we did the opposite of that one earlier, when we did the hands clasped behind.
Yeah, now we're going forward.
We're doing the opposite,
all right.
Okay? Very often our body tends to be very weak in the muscles in the back side of our body and very tight in the muscles in the front of our body. So the more we stretch in the front, the better. Then as far as your neck goes, I always like to say it's like you're dumping water out of your ear, okay? Because a lot of times when I ask people to do this, they'll dip their head instead. What I want you to do is, just like you're going to bring ear to shoulder and ear to shoulder, okay?
No dipping.
And no dipping. No dipping
no
of the chin.
No dipping of the
okay?
chin.
So kind of, and I didn't fall. One of the things that I want to show if anybody would like to progress that at all, and again, I would always start out with this, anything with a neck should never be difficult, should never be aggressive, okay? But one of the things that I want to say is if you did want to progress this a little bit, take your left hand and hold on to the leg of the chair and then sit up real tall. Right away you can feel that shoulder blade pull down, okay?
I sure can.
And then you're going to take this ear to shoulder.
Oh my goodness.
And so it pulls the shoulder blade down, so you don't need to take that neck quite so far. And again, it's gentle.
I want to do it on the other side.
Yeah, so do that.
You have to sit up. You know what I like about your constant reminders in the balance class is standing up straight, sitting up straight, putting your ears, over your shoulders. I think you have the line thing. I'm very conscious of that now. I notice even in my daily life, I may not be walking or standing like that, but I'm noticing it.
Awareness is half of the battle.
Yeah.
It's definitely half the battle for sure. So one more that is always good for the neck is you can just sit up straight and you start out by taking that ear to shoulder like you did before. Good. And then you're actually going to turn your head and dip your chin as though you were
looking at my armpit.
Looking at your armpit, okay? So it just makes it rather.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes it more. You've got an attachment right there.
I sure
do. And
it
goes down into your shoulder. So that is another one. It's just slightly different from the ear to shoulder. It just adds the rotation of your head, and that will stretch those levator scapula. Okay, so it's the muscles that move your shoulder blades up and down.
All right. Now, Jill, we can't practice it because we're not going to get on the floor. But if you could recommend a 4-minute bed routine. I've opened my eyes, it's morning, and before I even put my bedroom slippers on, what are some of the things that I could do? I've heard about, lifting your legs to your, is all of that?
That's all good. That's all good. I will say that in my knowledge, in my school of thought, think about what we said about the hydration of the spine.
Oh, that's true.
The spine becomes less hydrated through the night. So
that's
if
true.
your first thing in the morning you are stretching, not the best time. Now, that being said, I have people ask me all the time. They say, well, that's all the time I'll do it. Only when I'm laying down in bed.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
And I say, okay, go ahead.
Then
you know, it's better that than nothing.
Well, we could do ankles.
But you could do ankle circles,
Sure.
okay?
And flex and
some
point.
of those movement kind of things. So rather than the static stretching where you would just hold your knee into your chest, you might just, on your back, you might just lift one leg, lift the other. Okay.
Very gently,
Very
not
gently.
trying to make a big.
You might take your arms and take them up, take them down.
Okay.
Just to get the circulation going,
Moving.
get the joints moving. So rather than a static
Okay.
or held type of a stretch,
Okay.
you might think first thing in the morning. And so if I was thinking of 4 exercises, I would think first point and flex,
Okay.
most definitely, and circles.
Okay.
So start with that. And I always like to make this kind of organized so that you
do it.
so that you
So
do
that
it, okay?
It's in the brain. That's
exactly.
right.
So think about going from the ankles to the top, okay?
Okay.
And you know, in bed, you could bend your knees and just go kick, kick.
Kick.
So there's the knee joint.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
And as far as hips go, you can bend those knees, and so my feet are on the bed, and just go a little bit side to side, and that's not very aggressive. It's not static.
No,
it's
but
not
it kind
held.
of brings a little rotation
But
in.
it gets
All right.
motion in your hips and actually somewhat in your spine.
Okay.
A little bit. And so working up, I would say you could.
Any arms. Doing
And then just one arm over the head,
Okay.
the other arm over the head. You could actually do that, you know, come across, open up.
Oh,
come across, open up. So you could make the static stretch that we did earlier, you could just do this.
do it. Okay.
Essentially, you know, what you could be doing first thing in the morning is just thinking about your main joints, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders.
and shoulders.
And even your neck. You could roll your head side to side. But as far as movement goes, you know, getting your body ready for the day, that would be my
Excellent.
suggestion, okay? So
Excellent.
One for the ankles, one for the knees, you know, one for the hips,
shoulders.
one for the shoulders.
Easy. See,
Easy.
that is easy to do.
Easy
All
peasy.
right. We are running out of time.
Okay.
I was expecting you to have me doing, you know,
Downward dog or
downward
something.
dog. Yes. And I thought to myself, oh, please,
Yeah.
can I still do that?
Yeah, yeah,
I
exactly.
think I can, but
Well-
I didn't know if that was the kind of, does one need to be that flexible? Maybe.
And, you know, I have never, that is just me personally, I've never gotten into yoga or Tai Chi or much into Pilates, but I've always loved just stretch. It was what I learned first. And I think, those are all really good things. They're all great, but you know, just learning,
stretching.
move your joints,
Yep.
move your joints. If I could say anything, you know, that's the tip for the day.
We are going to move our joints. Thank you, thank you, thank you,
welcome.
thank you for coming.
Welcome.
Thank you for watching. I hope you are learning a routine that you can do and take home with you today. And I appreciate you watching North of 60. I'm Heidi Schweighoefer.